And for all we know, maybe he and Trump have an agreement where Trump's going to make him the secretary of propaganda and also fund SpaceX to the tune of shooting a bunch of people towards Mars. It was passed around and repeated by right-wing Jesus himself, Donald Trump, so it has already been thoroughly debunked. Welcome to the channel, everybody. My name is Greb Corrad. On the chopping block today, we have African immigrant and technocrat Elon Musk. Recently on the Tucker Carlson show, Elon said this.
I mean, my view is that if Trump doesn't win this election, it's the last election we're going to have. The Democrats, the Dem machine, has been importing so many people, bringing in so many illegals, flying in with this like CBP border app thing that nobody even knew about, like secret program. That's illegal, basically. It's illegal, but there's no action by the DOJ to actually to stop it from happening.
And this has been one of his talking points for a long time now. Not only is Elon scared of immigrants, he seems to be scared of the immigration process itself. And if you check his Twitter, he wants you to be scared too. We're going to give him 3 strikes today. This might get a little long-winded. I'm going to put timestamps with each debunking in there. So you can skip around, you can pause and come back if you want. Debunking number 1, strike number 1 is going to be what he just said there, the CBP-1 app. Now, recently, Elon posted this on Twitter of some ding-dong in a TikTok video. Let's have a listen.
After watching that vice presidential debate last night, I was curious just how easy that CBP-1 app was to use. So I downloaded it. So once you create an account from the main page, you just have to choose if you're the smuggler or the smugglee. Then you just got to fill in basic info, first name, last name, all the basics. I don't know my gender yet. I'm still figuring that out. Now it's time to take a selfie, and passport or any identification is also optional. Then it asks you which state you're headed to. I said I didn't know the address. I didn't know the city. I just chose California, and then I added the first zip code that Google gave me for California. And that's it. I'm good to go. It does let you choose between like 8 different...
All right, so this CBP-1 app controversy has been a hot topic among right-wing disinformation conspiracy theorists. It didn't take me very long to dig into it and find out the truth. What Backwards Hat Guy here is doing is combining 2 different features of the CBP-1 app, 2 different programs through Homeland Security, and he's misunderstanding both and spreading disinformation. The 2 programs he's combining are the CHNV parole process and scheduling an appointment to present at a port of entry. What he's doing on the phone is trying to schedule an appointment to present at a port of entry. But this guy is never going to get an appointment. Let me explain to you why. Okay, so here we have a fact sheet from the Customs and Border Protection website, and the first glaring thing that stands out to me that this idiot fails to understand is that you must be in central or northern Mexico to make these appointments. You cannot make them from Michigan. The second thing that stands out is that you have to make these appointments every day. There is a long list to get an interview at the border. At ports of entry such as Tijuana, the wait can be up to 6 or 7 months. So how the process really looks is you have to get yourself with a cell phone to northern or central Mexico, and you have to apply for an appointment every single day until finally your number is called. Then you have to trek to that port of entry and make your case to enter the country. There's obviously no airplanes flying people straight into the country after a 5-minute process with a picture of Carlos Mencia. And you can see down here at the bottom of the page in red, it says CBP is continually monitoring to guard against bad actors. Registrations that are identified as fraudulent will be removed. So, Backwards Hat Guy from Michigan can play all day, every day on this app, and he will never receive an appointment to present. As you can see, we'll zoom in on his screen. He was given nothing. All the software did was take this crap information that he fed it, and it will probably discard it. He'll never get an appointment. All right, let's get to the second thing that this guy is wrong about. And as you can see here in the Elon quoted tweet, he seems to think that it takes 5 minutes, then you get flown to the United States, air tickets paid for by the American taxpayer. So what these two are talking about is the CHNV process, where people from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela can apply to be paroled into the United States, where they are allowed to live and work for up to 2 years. So to qualify for this program, it takes a lot more than dicking around on a cell phone for 5 minutes. First of all, you have to have a supporter living within the United States legally who passes a security check and who can prove that they can financially support you for the 2 years you are here. And then you have to pass your own security and public safety vetting. And then you have to demonstrate that a grant of parole is warranted based on significant public benefit or urgent humanitarian reasons. And then you have to pay for your own travel. And I think that is the key to this whole thing. That's how you know this is disinformation or misinformation at best. None of these guys really look into it. They just retweet it because it sounds right to them. But on this website, I found it at least 3 different times where it says you have to pay for your own flight. And all this whole process does is grant you access, gives you an advanced travel authorization. Then you fly yourself to the United States, to a port of entry, and you have to go through yet another inspection and vetting process before you are granted parole. So I think you all can see that this is strike one on Elon. He is definitely an agent of disinformation. It is true that people from these 4 countries have come to the United States in the last year and a half by the hundreds of thousands, but they have done so legally. All right, so we're going to go F- for both Backwards Hat and Elon Musk on this one for integrity and due diligence. I'd like to take a minute just to pause real quick and thank you if you have made it this far. I really appreciate you, and I would like to ask you to do just the small things to help the channel, like, subscribe, and comment. It really helps. I thank you very much. All right, our second debunking comes from a series of tweets from Elon about a story out of Arizona State where it was found that 216,000 voters did not show proper proof of citizenship before voting. So the story is that the Arizona Department of Transportation database had a glitch in it. So who this affected was voters who got their driver's license in Arizona before October 1st of 1996. So people who have been driving in Arizona prior to 1996, October 1. So if you got your license in 1988, you didn't have to show proof of citizenship to get that driver's license. Then a new law came in 2004 that said you had to be a citizen to vote in local elections, which that's key, local, not federal. So anyone who had a driver's license issued to them prior to 96, the system never required them to show proof of citizenship to get their renewal. It just reprinted it and gave you your new license. So everyone who's an old-timer Arizonan never had to show proof of citizenship to get their driver's license. But these are people who have been driving a car in the state of Arizona for 28 plus years. These are people in their 40s on up into their 80s and 90s. So they have been in the state and voting for a long time. And because it is very unlikely that any of these people are non-citizens after living there for so long, the all-Republican Arizona State Supreme Court granted permission for all these people in this election to vote a full ballot. But where the real bullshit is in this story is that Elon retweets this tweet that says, oh, Joe Biden only won Arizona by 10,000 votes. And this story has nothing to do with federal elections. As you can see here, to vote federally in Arizona, all a person has to do is swear an oath that they are a U.S. citizen. To vote locally, you have to prove that you are a citizen. So this story is about local elections, and the Arizona Supreme Court granted permission for all those people to vote locally this year. So you can see that Elon has tried to use this to further his narrative about illegals voting, and it is simply bullshit, not true. So that's another F- for Elon. We're moving on to our third debunking, and this one I'm going to keep brief. It was passed around and repeated by right-wing Jesus himself, Donald Trump, so it has already been thoroughly debunked. I'll just give you the details. On September 27th, Congressman out of Texas, Tony Gonzalez, posted this letter that he received from the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. This is a table of non-citizens who are currently detained or non-detained who have been convicted of crimes or have pending criminal charges. And then it breaks it down by the type of crime. The column that caught everyone's attention was the non-detained convicted criminal column, which says that there are 425,431 total non-detained convicted criminals on ICE's list. And then it breaks it down by crime. So it says that there are 13,099 people convicted of homicide who are non-detained. And then it says there are 15,811 sexual offenders, convicted sexual offenders who are non-detained. So this information was quickly misinterpreted by Trump and several others to mean that these are all criminals that the Biden-Harris administration had led into the country over the past 3.5 years. It did not take very long for several news outlets to get in touch with the Department of Homeland Security and receive emails back such as this one. The data in this letter is being misinterpreted. The data goes back decades. It includes individuals who entered the country over the past 40 years or more, the vast majority of whose custody determination was made long before this administration. This also includes many who are under the jurisdiction or currently incarcerated by federal, state, or local law enforcement partners, meaning that a lot of these people on this list on the non-detained side are in prisons or jails elsewhere that ICE doesn't know about. But of course, an alleged email is not good enough for me. I had to dig into it and get into the reports from Homeland Security to see the numbers for myself. So here is a report that says as of August 2016, there were about 368,574 convicted criminals on the non-detained docket. And then we get into another report that says for fiscal year 2021, as of June 5th, 2021, there were 405,786 convicted non-citizens on the non-detained docket. So, for the record, it goes from 2016 at 368,574, then it jumps 2001, 405,786, and then 2004, we are at 425,431 people on this list. So you can see that the list has grown slowly over time, including during the Trump administration. So you can see how this is bullshit. All these people did not come over in the last 3.5 years. The Biden-Harris administration did not just open the gates wide and let over 400,000 convicted criminals into the country. So we're going to go F- for Elon on this one end and F- for Trump for integrity. Okay, let's get into the final thoughts here. So what is with this guy, Elon Musk? Why is he saying all this? Is he really just stupid and he's just caught up in the fever? So my first guess is this is about money, right? Because if Trump gets in, it saves him billions and billions of dollars. Under the proposed Harris tax plan, tradable assets, stocks, will be taxable. Elon Musk gets paid almost exclusively in stocks. Right now, he pays no tax on his income. He's worth $256 billion. Very little of that has ever been taxed. So I thought that has to be part of this. Plus, the corporate tax will go up under this tax plan, and he owns 6 companies. Then we also have to consider subsidies and government contracts. Tesla's received billions of dollars in subsidies, and SpaceX has received billions of dollars in government contracts. He's also received subsidies for Starlink, his satellite internet company, and then I read that recently the Federal Communications Commission has reaffirmed his denial for $885.5 million in rural broadband subsidies. The FCC said the decision impacting Elon Musk's space company was based on Starlink's failure to meet basic program requirements. So maybe that chapped his ass. This administration took away some of his money, took away some of his fun. And for all we know, maybe he and Trump have an agreement where Trump's going to make him the secretary of propaganda and also fund SpaceX to the tune of shooting a bunch of people towards Mars, which he would love very much to do. I'm just kidding about the propaganda secretary or propaganda czar. We all know that right-wing propaganda comes from the bottom up. These guys aren't making any of this up. They are just handpicking what they want to retweet based on how popular it is and how plausible it may sound to the idiot rabble that they preach to. And as I'm saying this, it is just hard for me to believe that this is strictly a business decision. I don't think this guy is dancing like a monkey out there just for dollars. I think he is really caught up in this thing. I think he is a zealot. I think he has been radicalized. This is love. This is passion. Elon Musk very much reminds me of a young man who spent his teens caring only about video games, and then at 20 years old he heard Ron Paul speaking about the gold standard, about the Federal Reserve, about Thomas Jefferson, and then he read the book Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt, and then he felt like he was ready to solve all the world's problems. Next he turned to the bosom of right-wing Twitter, which welcomed him with loving and open arms. I believe Elon has found a happy place where his politics will benefit him financially, and they also strike him as the most ethical and patriotic. I believe Elon Musk is how he is because this Twitter space of nonstop, erroneous, and twisted information is captivating and easy to understand, and he is stupid.